So I'm going to put this on Oda. I understand that it's other folks that work on the Vivre cards, but I would assume that Oda in some capacity has to, give the on the Vivre cards, because what I'm seeing right now is dangerous. Okay, this is dangerous, and I'm not a fan of this because it's kind of grouping everything into like one camp of power, which I know I was gonna say the other R word, but on YouTube, that'll get me in trouble. But it's ridiculous. It is absolutely, utterly ridiculous. So let me explain what's going on here, right? A few days ago, Arter from Library of Ohara on his Twitter was talking about official Vivre card corrections. Now, of course, the Vivre cards have to be taken with a certain grain of salt, like a Sanji, grain of salt, because my goodness, they get things wrong, or things are kind of weird. And one of the things, obviously, is, let's say, Shanks, and how initially it said that Shanks, he was a Yonko when he met Luffy. It was like, wait, dog, what? Because we find out in the manga what happens. Well, he was a Yonko 4 years from pre-time skip and 2 years from post-time skip. So he's a fresh off the boat Yonko. So the Vivre cards got it wrong, and that'd be corrected. Another thing that they did in the corrections that Arter goes over is that Luffy Oars and Oars Jr., their heights were changed. They were around 35 plus meters in height. Now they're around like 60 plus meters in height, near Wadatsume's height. But Wadatsume's like 80 some odd, not being inflated. So okay, fine, fair enough, fine. But then we're getting time skip power creep into the pre-time skip to better explain why certain things work the way they do now in the post-time skip. And no, it's ridiculous, because you're limiting the diversity pool of the power spectrum of the One Piece story. So this is where it is. This is where it starts. On Arter's Twitter page, official Vivre card correction, Lucci's Vivre card said that he learned Haki during the pre-time skip. However, this correction states he simply strengthened his Haki over the time skip in relation to his Roku Shiki, implying that pre-time skip Lucci had Haki, which is big. It's not big, it's stupid. It's actually the other R word I want to say, but I can't say it because of YouTube and soft and Teletubby people on YouTube. No, hell no. What do you mean big? It's ridiculous. This is why the Vivre cards have to be taken with a grain of salt, like just big old baseball-sized grains. Okay, god damn, dog. What? Lucci had a finger in Luffy's neck, or at least he tried to, but it went boing. It went boing because he's rubber. And then he says, "You would have died. You would have had a hole in your neck, boy, if you weren't made out of rubber." He said it exactly like that. Look it up. He said it exactly like that in that tone. You would have died, boy. Because he didn't have the would-be Haki to, penetrate the Devil Fruit abilities. I mean, because we know, Garp, the Fist of Love, if he wanted to hurt Luffy, he did. Because he had the Haki. So if that was the reality with Rob Lucci, Luffy would have been dead. Furthermore, one of the new index cards states that the training required for the acquisition of both Mantra and Rokushiki is akin to that used for acquiring Haki. Could this imply that Rokushiki is tied to Haki? The card uses this panel of Tekai. Doesn't imply it's like Arm and Haki. First of all, Mantra is literally the Skypian name for observation Haki. What NL does is observation Haki, flat out. Rokushiki, though, is not armament or observation Haki. It's a Kenpo. It is a Kenpo. Just how there are Kenjutsus in One Piece, where certain folks have different sword techniques, from Itoryu, Nitoryu, Santoryu, Kyutoryu, or, because Brook has his own degree of Kenjutsu, And that's like a weird fencing thing, and that is completely different than what Zoro has, which is more so based on katana, longsword, iaito, that kind of stuff. All right, they're different at their core. But let me finish the post. All CP9 members, minus Spandam and Nero, were revealed to have observation armor Haki in their cards. Given how Lucci was said to learn it from CP0 in this translation, it implies that they all joined CP0. But if they all had Haki pre-time skip, then this might mean they did not join CP0. So yeah, it could be the case where, let's say, Jabra, he's running CP9 now, because I guess someone has to run CP9, and then Kaku and Lucci have moved to CP0. Fine, whatever, it is what is there. But the main gist here is this. What the Vivre cards are now implying, strongly, is that Rob, my boy Lucci, knew Haki in the pre-time skip, which I'm calling bull. I'm just calling flat out bull, which is why, again, the Vivre cards must be taken with giant grains. You know, think of Sanji just sprinkling that, giant baseball-sized grains of salt, man. Come on, what? Because this is a power creep, I think. This is a power creep of post-time skip into pre-time skip. Because Oda, a lot of folks have noted that Oda has made a weird kind of transition from the post-time skip to the pre-time skip when it comes to, in particular, armament Haki. Observation Haki was never really a problem, per se. It's the armament Haki where things get kind of weird. And it's like, hey, wait, dog, what? And you can kind of tell he did because of the Logia, because the Logia were so powerful to where he needed a way to actually damage these guys in the first place, and then boom, that he created Haki. Fair enough, fine. I think, again, I'm putting it on Oda because what is stated in this Vivre card is game changing. And Oda should be, and I know he's a busy man, but he should be on top of that. Wait, hold on, just stop. A Chicle, shut it down for a second. There's no way we could just put this in the pre-time skip. So, let me remind you guys, what was the deal with Rokushiki back in the pre-time skip, okay? And this all starts with Bluno. Go back to chapter 348, where Luffy fights Bluno, right? He starts off doing a kick to his face, and then Bluno does the Tekkai Iron Body. And then Luffy's like, and I quote, let me zoom in real quick. He says this, "Dang it, how come nothing I do to these guys even phases them?" And then Bluno says, "The training we've undergone has tempered our bodies to the point of being tough as iron shells." Tempered our bodies to the point of being as tough as iron shells. And then from then on, Luffy does a Gatling, and then Bluno does Kamiye and dodges every attack that Luffy does. Harmless though they are, I'm not going to sit back and take your beatings. And he continues to dodge the Gatling that Luffy gives him. Now, from that first comment, what does that mean on Bluno's part? It's easy. The tempering of the body is a Kenpo, or a technique which strengthens your body, and you use a Kenpo called Tekkai to harden your body. Armament Haki hardening is taking your aura, it's taking your soul or your spirit. I'm gonna say soul. It's taking your soul and coating your soul over your physical body, thereby strengthening your defense and offense. And then on top of that, allowing you to hit the real body of certain Delphi users. Not only that, but you can strengthen that by having a stage 3 or a stage 4 armament Haki to where you can project it outside. So you can, let's say, do the regular invisible aura, then you can do a hardening where it's black and it's actually visible. Then you can do a stage 3, which we see in Wano Country, that we see Sentomaru do, that we see Marigold do, that we see Rayleigh do, where it comes out of your body like a barrier. And then stage 4 is that the barrier can actually go into certain objects and attack from the inside out. Now, if we go over to what the Rokushiki is in full, Rokushiki has 3 techniques that are based on leg strength. Leg strength and leg strength alone, hence the tempered body. You have Soru, you have Geppo, and you have Rankaku. These are all leg strength based skills, okay? Soru, you just move fast, and then you kick the ground a few times an instant. That has nothing to do with Haki. The same thing should apply to Rankaku, because Rankaku, you're kicking the air to the point where you can make an actual cutting attack. But that's an air cut. You're actually cutting the air itself to the point where you're actually making an air cut, okay? And it's like a shockwave air wind-based attack. That is not Haki-based. That's not Haki-based at all. And I use anime here in this case. In the anime, in Wano Country, we're seeing Zoro's air cuts kind of change color from a normal light blue to like now a light purple. And the light purple signifies how his air cuts now have Haki imbued in them. But at the end of the day, that's a Haki imbued air cut. That is not a regular air cut. That is a Haki imbued air cut. Of course, because again, the armored Haki is just a multiplier of the base foundation of what you already established, okay? So for example, in the case of Luffy in Whole Cake Island, Luffy, he does a giant pistol on Perosphero's candy wall, and he can't break through the candy wall. But that was a giant pistol. He has a Haki version of that called the Elephant Gun. So literally, the Haki version of the giant pistol is the Elephant Gun, and it enhances its powers. That's why Haki is just more so an augmentation of what you already established. And that's what armored Haki essentially is. Now, in the case of Genpo, that also is the same thing as well. Bluno, when he's fighting against Luffy, continues when he does Soru and Genpo. Luffy tries to punch Bluno, he misses, and then Bluno disappears, quote unquote. So no, I disappear. I just move faster, and I quote, I just moved faster than your eyes could see using my superior leg strength. And then he does Genpo after dodging another Luffy attack and says this: the strength of our legs, the strength, again, this is a physical strength thing. The strength in our legs is such that we can push off cushions of air and stay afloat. That is a strength body augmented thing. That's muscle mass. That's, technique. That's Kenpo. It's Kenpo, for goddamn. It's Kenpo. It's not Haki. God damn it. And then the Shigen and the Tekkai, again, they're the same thing, essentially. The Shigen applies to the finger more so, whereas the Tekkai is the whole body. It is just there. Now, Kamiye is a weird one, because Kamiye, your body moves and contorts in different ways. But essentially, what the Kamiye is the utilization of Seimin Kiken in a combat situation. Seimin Kiken is life return. Rob Lucci does that, where he has a big hulkish leopard form, and then he condenses that form down into a thinner form. That's a Seimin Kiken. And on top of that, you have people like anyone that uses Kamiye essentially does Seimin Kiken to morph their body in a certain way, and they're manipulating the very bone structure and the very cells in their body so they can do that kind of stuff. Another good example of this is, let's say, Laoji. Laoji could store the muscle mass of his use and use it later on in life. That life return, that Qui-Gon skill, whatever it's called, that is a Seimin Kiken-based thing. Another thing is being able to control your hair. We know that Sunder Sonia and Mary Go, they can actually control their hair and use their hair for attacks. That is Seimin Kiken. That's Seimin Kiken, to have complete mastery of one's own body. That is a Kenpo. That is not Haki. Haki is three things: observation Haki, armored Haki, and conqueror's Haki. And the last one, of course, is the Roku Ogen, the seventh secret technique of the Rokushiki. The Roku Ogen is a Kenpo-based move that is somewhat of a shockwave. And we see in the last one, like the last Roku Ogen, the Saidairin Roku Ogen, that's a pure shockwave. And Luffy let me get the chapter real quick. Luffy in chapter 425 states how what he experienced with the first Roku Ogen is like an impact dial, okay? So the impact dials on Sky Island take the kinetic energy of something and they reverberate it back at somebody in a shockwave. I mean, understand that. That's like implying that the dials are Haki based. Are the dials of Sky Island Haki based? No, it's the kinetic energy that they take from explosions or punches or so on, and they convert it back as shockwaves. And that's what we see with the reject dial. We see the reject dial when it made that giant chasm in the giant jack, when Viper made it collapse. That was essentially a shockwave, an attack from the inside out. And that's what the Rogue Ogun is. It's a shockwave. This is completely different than what we see with the stage 3 or stage. Stop. Wait a minute. Are we actually going to imply that Rob Lucci pre-time skip was using stage 3 or stage 4 armored Haki hardening to where he was doing the Rayleigh shit? Rob Lucci. I love Rob Lucci. No. Stop. Just stop it. No. Hell no. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. Here is where this is very dangerous. In One Piece, you have established base power. You have Kenjutsu, you have Kenpo, you have basic strength, you have marksman, you have spearmen, you have science, you have tech, you have so many different power pools in the world of One Piece. But Haki is an augmentation on a lot of these powers. So for example, the Kano Kuni boys, when they attack somebody, and then that kinetic energy, that shockwave, then travels the body to a certain point, and then it does the damage. That is a martial arts skill. That is not Haki. But I'm afraid now that Oda and his staff, or the folks that are involved with the Vivre cards and so on, they're going to start applying these things as Haki. So the air cuts are going to be Haki. The Kano Kuni shockwaves are going to be Haki. Sanji's fire pre-time skip is going to be Haki. It's like, dog, what? So I can understand post-time skip because he just combusts and ignites. Fair enough, fine. And I've done before, like I said back then, that this is probably Haki. Like, Ashura and Sanji's fire. These things could be Haki. Fair enough, fine. Because they're based on soul and they're based on spirit. And we know how will and soul and spirit play a component in armament and conqueror's Haki. And observation Haki is just more sensory stuff. But when it comes to certain base abilities, like the Kenpos, like the Seimin Kiken, like, the Kenjutsus, like, the San Toryu, again, I don't have the mindset here that, let's say, the Shichi Son that Zoro does, that may have some Haki imbued to it. Fair enough, fine. But the air cuts, so the Phoenix Pound Cannons they did pre-time skip, have no Haki. Or at least if they do have Haki, it's very, very minimal. But they're not Haki-based things. They're the strength of his body cutting the air with such speed and ferocity to where it actually creates an air cut. And again, Haki is aura related. And if we go back to the original canon manga, it says, once again in chapter 348, the training we've undergone has tempered our bodies. Forged their bodies, their actual physical bodies, their cells, their DNA, their bones, their muscles, not aura. There's no aura here in the slightest. That's what I would say what's going on here, okay, man? This makes the most sense to me because this is what actually was established prior to. The Vivre cards, you take it with a giant grain of salt. I'm not buying that for a second. I'm not buying that for a goddamn second. There's no freaking way that Rob Lucci was using armament Haki in any capacity pre-time skip. No, not buying that. Hell no. Hell no. And again, this is part of the reason why the Vivre cards piss me off too, because a lot of these things Oda should do within the manga, but Oda, again, he wants to get to a certain point. He wants to end the story, and so there are so many different components, and his world is so big, so he can't touch upon these things now, or he feels like he can't do that now. And I don't know, sometimes I guess he gets lost. He gets lost in the thought, he gets lost in the translation, meaning like he gets lost in the day-to-day progress of the story to where things in the past he may have forgotten, all right? Like in the JoJo's fandom, there's that meme of Akira forgot. Well, again, I'm putting it on Oda, but right now it's just predominantly on the people that actually do the Ricard stuff, which is not Oda per se. That's like other folks, it's staff, whatever. but we have to double check those cards, like quadruple check those cards, because these corrections and these Haki things pre-time skip, they gotta be shut down. They gotta be shut down. All right, that's my video, y'all. I'm gonna catch you guys and gals later. Let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. Peace, and have a nice goddamn day.